Morning, Mark.
Good morning, Rob. How are you, my friend?
Doing very well. How are you?
Oh, it's a beautiful day. I love hearing those beautiful weather forecasts. Nice.
Yes, it is going to be a great
September.
weekend.
September. Feel good September, right? Kids are back in school. Feeling good. Feeling good. Everything is great. Everything is great out there. But, you know, I was listening to the interview with our Plymouth County Registrar, John Buckley, right before they're talking about the increase in foreclosures and, you know, lower amounts of mortgage transactions. So that's not great news. But what he didn't share with you is something I want to share, is that there's a lot of funding out there. There was some government funding through COVID, and now there's some state funding for folks who are struggling, right? So those that were impacted with COVID who may be behind in their mortgage, there's a Homeowners Assistant Fund. It's called HAF. You can go on the Google machine, tap it in, and it's Massachusetts HAF program, HAF. And I encourage people to check it out. There's a lot of funding there. We've talked about some of the funding in the past that's been really helpful. We were concerned through COVID for folks that weren't able to pay their rent, and the struggle that they were having, the customers, the tenants of folks that own residential real estate, and we were wondering, you know, well, what's going to happen to those landlords? And they had the RAFT program. Again, RAFT, Massachusetts. In Google, you can find the way to apply, and if eligible, there is funding out there for folks. So, you know, RAFT for the leases and the tenants, and then HAF, HAF, for folks who have mortgages who are, you know, 3 months behind or more. There's funding there to help get them current as well. But there's something even bigger coming out on Monday, Rob.
Something bigger on Monday?
More funding, right? So a lot of those funds came from the federal government and they were unused. And now Massachusetts Housing, is the facilitator for a grant, and it's called the Homeownership Mass Dreams Grant. So for eligible first-time homebuyers who were living in a community that was disproportionately impacted by COVID, right? So some of those towns, Attleboro, locally here, Barnstable, Boston, Brockton, Quincy, Randolph, some of the folks within our demographic here at WATD. If you are living in those communities and you can prove residency, you can receive up to $50,000 towards a purchase of a new home.
Wow.
And it doesn't even have to be in that community. There's more benefits if you stay within that community, but it has to be through a mass housing lender, where there's a few in our area. We're talking with one of them today live on Facebook with our real estate group. So I've talked about our exclusive real estate group on Facebook. We're going live with Pat Lynch from Bluestone, who's going to explain thoroughly what the eligibility requirements are. And folks that aren't able to tune into that, please give us a call, because we're going to know a lot more about it after this. It goes into effect on Monday. My understanding is you can pay up to 5% of a down payment, right? So if you're buying a $500,000 home, that's $25,000. Then you can use those funds towards closing costs, which sometimes upwards of $10,000. That's $35,000. And then when you're at a 5% down payment, you would have mortgage insurance. Therefore, this could be used towards the upfront mortgage insurance percentage, which could get you up to that $50,000. And this is a grant, right? This is something that is not paid back. There's another program that's going into effect as well that is a zero interest loan. It's a second mortgage that is forgiven should you decide to stay in that same community. But I don't want to go into the weeds of it, because I'm still waiting for that expert knowledge that I'm going to learn today, and then be available to speak with people and introduce them to folks that can help facilitate these. But it's really exciting for folks out there looking to buy homes, because as you heard from our registrar, you know, transactions are down and the negative transactions are up. So let's balance that scale a little bit. Let's not let those foreclosures pile on. Let's look into some of those HAF programs. Let's see if we can keep people in their homes, and of course those first-time home buyers, let's get them in a new home, right? And there's some money out there to help facilitate that, which for folks that are talking about, the market crashing in certain areas, this will help mitigate that for sure. So we're really excited about the opportunities that these fundings are going to have.
More to come on that.